That's how society has evolved. That's how we have learned to communicate. We always tell our identity. It was good because this is how societies have evolved, and until we connect with someone, we do not communicate. But what happened in the current ages, we give our identities good, all good. We get a service, we get a connection, but now everything is recorded. Earlier, we give our identity, we connect, we get a service done, we forget it. No more. What Kevin gave in his introduction is recorded in some of the cameras here. It can be transcribed. It can be used to re-identify Kevin again. And this can be used in the student. So this data can be used to do many things, identify himself, giving promotions on his phone based on his IP address, which is also being tracked today by the mobile companies and so on. So the world is no more the same like earlier where we used to reveal ourselves, get things done, and move on and forget. Now everything is digitized. Everything is recorded. If you go to a doctor, you are supposed to tell everything true, right? It was always good, but now doctors record it digitally, right? Everything you give about yourself, your family history, your medical condition, it's all recorded digitally. So the one who is recording this digitally is responsible to protect it, archive it when the use is done, and also prevent any misuse, right? So now I give you a story from a friend. It's a sad story, but that's reality today. And everybody who's living in Ireland that has a record with HSE for the last 4 years would relate to this very easily. So my friend's daughter is a teenager, was looking for her medical condition. And she had a very rare disease in her knees. So she was just looking for it on Google. And what came up was her own prescription, which was given when this disease was identified in 2000, when she was 8 years old. She was shocked with this. All her information with her name and all the details of the doctor who prescribed and who found this disease with her was all out on the internet. So with the data being digitized, we are witnessing a very big problem with this data going in the wrong hands, right? Today, you have, now NVIDIA is releasing the new chipsets, the A100 and the H100 series. And what they're going to do, they can train a ChatGPT-like model in hours than days. You can imagine what introduction Kevin gave or what that girl's data is on the internet. It can be used for so many targeted purposes by AI because it's on the internet. And as of now, we don't have internet regulations to say, okay, you need an explicit condition to train your AI model and so on, right? So the problem is intensifying with AI, indulging into technology and grabbing more and more space. What happens to the people who are not aware? They're just living their life. We in this hall, you here listening to me, so many startups, we are at least digitally aware. But there's a large audience in the world who is not so digitally aware. They just sign things, accept. And they give their consent for everything. They don't know what they're giving away, right? Who protects them? Where are the security guards or say cybersecurity, whatever, to help protect themselves, right? So can they be some sort of hidden? Even though the data is used, can they be somehow hidden? Can they be protected? There are laws, yes. So there are laws across the globe, and as we talk today, it is for more than 140 countries where there are data protection laws. And hopefully, I mean, as per the analysts, this should go to all the countries to have very effective laws on data protection. So yes, there is a good initiative from the government. Then what's happening with these laws, right? Scary face. And that's what is happening. So these laws are generating fines, some sort of revenues for the government, right? And it's too many. Too many fines have already been imposed because of these laws. And I've quoted only the European Union GDPR laws fines. And I have removed all the tech companies from this. No Google is on this list, or no Facebook is on this. Okay, there's one Google. Okay, and this is no more scary, even if I give you in black and white, right? It's very much same. It's the same scary if you read this and not look at the face. There are so many fines which have been given to these companies, and what has it changed? What has these fines changed? Why do we have to have a solution to use data for AI? It's our own data. We collected consent, right? Why should we have a solution to use the same data? That's because on the left-hand side, you see AI brings in a new level of access. So when you're talking to a doctor, only the doctor is listening to you. Only he is the one who has your information. So even if one doctor's digital records are hacked, you lose data for 100 patients, suppose. But what happens when an AI data is hacked? You lose records of million patients, right? So with AI, there's a new thing coming in where the data access rights have to be changed. And this has to be taken in consideration. On the other side of the slide, you see the GDPR fines. And there have been fines of more than 4 billion euros over 1,800 companies. Just GDPR is what I'm talking, not the US fines and the other locations. So, despite so many fines, what the analysts say is it's the tip of the iceberg. So fines are imposed only when it has been identified as a problem. And somebody has reported it. But there are so many companies today who are using the data left, right, and center, and they have not yet been identified. So the problem is much, much bigger when companies repurpose the data, and nobody cares about Kevin, nobody cares about the girl whose data is being misused, right? The laws do restrict. They ask you to get consent, but we all have to realize that consent is not enough, right? You have given consent because you wanted that service. Everybody who came in this hall today, you gave your consent to be recorded. Otherwise, you can't enter, right? So we have to give consent for a purpose. But then, they should not be treated as the consent given for anything, right? Because nobody today can be 100% sure that they would never have a cyber attack in their whole life, in their whole company's history. So we have to take other measures if you want to keep this in the long run. If you want to use the data in long run for AI, we have to take other measures. Why we have to do this today is because today is the time when AI products are gaining maturity. In this room or in this hall today, I'm very sure there'll be more than 100 plus companies who are trying to grab all the data they can, train their AI models and provide some service and earn money. So that's the point. Companies today can monetize data. They can earn from this data. And this is the whole reason why this is very important today. Inherent geopolitical tensions, this war in Russia and so on, there are spies around and people are trying to manipulate governments. And what best can it be if you can get the data from somewhere and manipulate people's behavior to vote and so on. So today is the time when this problem is much at a higher stake and we all have to look into this. So what's the solution looks like? In the intro itself, you told a very good point that we have to anonymize. So anonymize is one thing. There are several technologies available today and they are recommended. So it's not that I am saying that I have done this or somebody is holding a flag that only I can do this. There are so many technologies available today which can be used. And I've listed a few of them. Privacy enhancing technology is the more broader term, but there are trusted execution environments, multi-party communication. There are so many technologies which are available today, but they are expensive. They are not yet in a commodity stage. Many of them are in research stage. So it's a bit difficult but the guys who are able to use data today, nobody is scot-free. Most of them have got some fines, but the biggest users are like so Google and Apple, and they use data left and right. Apple records every keystroke on your phone, and they use it because they use these technologies. So they're much in a comfortable position compared to the new startups and the HSCs and of the world and so on, where they are not so advanced in technology. So we have to change our thinking and move from the data owner mindset to a data consumer mindset, wherein the data owner should take proper precaution and perform transformation of data before it goes to any data consumer who is not directly dealing with the data subject, right? So before any repurposing of data where data is not to be concerned with the data owner, it should be transferred. This is not happening in the industry today, and this is where we see the future, which can help AI and other such technologies to keep using the data, because the individual will be protected. So we have to move away from, and now this is an important slide. If anybody has a question, I'll be happy to answer, because I think we got more time. So paper compliance. This is term I didn't create. It is coming from a lawyer. So when I was in a session, the guy said, yeah, we take care of papers. So what companies are doing today to comply to GDPR and other laws, they have checklists. They have real things. Okay, yeah, we have data. We have consent from users. And with this consent, our data privacy officer authorizes ABC use of this data. So it's all legal. They make a legal checklist and they do everything they can. But in this, and that's where the whole say problem comes in, because they are using techniques which make them legal, and despite that, nobody can safeguard cybersecurity. Right? There would be a hack, and this is what happened in UK. I mean, I have a lot of stories to tell if we get time, but yeah, let's first understand paper compliance part. So now, if we have to move away, not move away, we have to have paper compliance, but we have to move towards compliant data. And what does this mean is that data is transformed. It's in such a form which is not going to impact the individual. It's not going to let the individual be manipulated. I think that's what we should all aim at. Anybody who's working with a lot of data, who has a risk that, say, my access to the data, I'm processing data of 1 million users because I want to train my AI model. Suppose my account is hacked, what happens? So anybody who is having any enhanced access to data, not dealing with the data subject, they have to change their mindset to move away from paper compliance to compliant data. So this we see as the key to success in future, and this has to be done at all stages. It's for files we send over emails, it's for database, it's for the health management system, it's for our ERP systems, or anything which we work with. It is also for APIs, like we give all our data for car insurance. How much questions they ask? Where is this data going? It's going through APIs and through from the point which you give it on your browser to the point it's stored in database. It changes hands at so many places. And there's so many leak points. So we have to make sure that wherever the data is stored, it's been repurposed, it should be protected. And not only protected as in with security seals, but it should be transformed. That even if there is a breach, there is no loss. So this is what we have to ensure. Now, I have a lot of stories, but depending on time, I'll crack it, or else we'll just move on. So I'll just close first and then open for questions if there are any, and you can go into stories. I'll just go for one of them, which is the Dutch hospital. It's Haga Hospital in Dutch. And there was a celebrity who was admitted there. And on his anniversary or birth date is normally famous for celebrities, but on his some anniversary, he started getting bouquets when he was lying on the bed, and people were coming and greeting him. And most of them were nurses and doctors of the hospital. So he got like, what happened? Why did my data go out? So he complained about it. And how did my data got out? And the data audit on the hospital, and they found that all the staff could access all the patients' data. Now, this was a gross violation of GDPR, and that's how they got the fine. In a similar way, there are all these examples. H&M, we all know H&M. H&M actually has to close down a store because of the wrong policy on the store, and the employees' data was accessible by many people in the organization. And the reputation was so bad. And once this was identified, nobody applied to work in that store. So once it is identified and the leaks are exposed, it's not the data damage which they receive. They receive a brand damage. There's a reputational damage to the company which is having these kind of acts. HSE, for example, I'll not go into that. It's a big story, and they have spent like hundreds of millions, more than 100 million on fixing things. And this is common with all the healthcare companies who have suffered ransomware attack and so on. They spend a lot of money in fixing it rather than correcting it in the first place. But is it all the dark side? And that's not true. So yeah, the bright side has emerged. It is emerging. There are companies like the Statistics Division of European Union, and Horizon Europe programs have put lots of money on funding these initiatives, privacy-preserving technologies. So there's a lot happening in this space on making such data transformation technologies as mainstream technologies. That's where our company works as well. But there's a lot of work happening on this space. Surprisingly, the HSE, they advertise the new procurement process, and they have added privacy preserving as a part of the requirement. So everybody is getting up and gearing to this part that they can protect, and not protect as in lock the data. So protection today means, yeah, we lock it. We have so many locks that nobody can hack inside, but somebody gets inside. So protection is more important is preservation. So even if somebody opens all the locks, they cannot access the real data. They cannot identify the individual. And that's what can have a sustainable effect. It can lead to a long-term impact on how we see data usage by AI. So this I conclude with my experience. I have a lot of papers published on this topic as well. And I'm open to any questions if we have time, or yeah, we have time. So if there are any questions on any of the slide deck or anything you'd like me to talk more about, or else then I say thank you and we can close. Thank you, everyone.